Okay, welcome back to the Operators Pod. It is the Sean and Matt show. And the fun thing about the two of us is we actually think about the show ahead of time. So we plan this out a little bit. Whereas a lot of the time we are getting on and minutes before we're like, I think we should talk about this topic. This time we put some thought into it. I hope you like it. It's a little weird of an episode. We are actually talking about soft skills and how they can make you more money, actually just make you a better leader, a better business person, how to have more fun in building your company. I really enjoyed this chat because this is the side of Sean I don't get to hear very much from. So it's kind of cool. I hope you like the episode. As always, before we get in, we got to thank the sponsors. They pay for all this stuff: Fulfill, Postscript, Saras, Richpanel, and last but not least, Northbeam. Northbeam has been our sponsor since day one, episode 1. We have great sponsors. We actually, as operators, use these pieces of software. We recommend them because we like them. We like the teams. Sean and I were actually talking about this. We were talking about both Postscript and Richpanel before we even got recording the episode because we actually like these guys. So anyway, check them out. Hope you enjoy the episode. Let's get into it.
Meetab, you and I both use and love Fulfill. You have an extensive history of using other ERPs. So, in your 50-year career, what is the worst implementation story you have heard of?
Worst implementation story is one time we implemented a really horrific ERP called Fishbowl. And the thought process there was, hey, this is slightly cheaper than some of the other big competitors. This company's a little bit smaller. Maybe it's a good idea. And that was not a good idea. It was a very bad idea. It couldn't handle orders. Like if you did over, I forget what it was, if you're doing over like 100K a day, it would basically break, which is obviously not that hard to do. So you would break the ERP really badly, and there was no real solution for it other than turn it off and then turn it back on again and manually push the orders through. And that was the worst ERP ever. So we ended up switching off of that pretty quickly.
And you switched to Fulfill and you've never been happier. Let's talk about implementation real quick. Things can fail, right?
Yep.
Going to market can fail. You can have a failed process. It's because it requires so much work. You have to put work in to set up your ERP. I wish it was one click, right? But ERPs need to know what your business looks like, where you make stuff, the cost of goods. Your accounting team has to commit to using it. So there is an implementation curve. I have heard about people who spent $500,000 to set up NetSuite and then they have a failed implementation.
Hey, don't forget about the bonus fee that you get to pay Solido.
Right. Yeah. And NetSuite's so hard to set up that they have a third-party firm you have to pay. I mean, everyone pays third-party firms to set their thing up. So look, Fulfill, you're not going to get that. They're going to commit to making sure you're using the features you pay for. They will hold your hand all the way through that process. If it takes 12 months to get the full suite of features, they are there to help you support. I think the biggest scam when it comes to ERPs is the third-party implementation fees. For people who don't know what I'm talking about, you pay for a software and then you have to pay other people to teach you how to use the software. Am I getting that right?
Well, and build out quote unquote custom functionality, but that functionality isn't really something that should be custom. And often what will happen is the guy that sold you the ERP, so the guy on the sales team, he doesn't really care whether or not it's the right product for you. And I don't think they're actually measured on if a customer churns after, right? So they don't care. They just want to max out their commissions. So what they'll do is they'll tell you the ERP can do something that it can't, or they'll kind of bend the truth a little bit. So let's say something like, yeah, it can handle 1 million orders a day, no problem. That's not true. If the orders have a lot of kits in them or something, it'll break functionality of the ERP. And what'll happen is you'll end up on there and you'll be like, oh, I need this critical functionality. I thought I had it. You're already knee deep with the implementation. You've already racked up 6 figures in fees. And then they'll say, oh yeah, just go ahead and hire this third party to build you a custom solution there. And you're like, well, this shouldn't even be custom, but now you're stuck paying another 6 figures to another company for help building out a custom implementation.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm going to pick on NetSuite. It's from like 1993 or whatever. And
that's when I'm born.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's older than us. Like, do you use any technology that is older than you are, right? You should just use a modern ERP. It's not going to be easy. You have to commit your team to using it, and they're going to want to go back to spreadsheets, right? But with Fulfill, there's a non-failure implementation guarantee. They will make sure if they sign you as a client and they take your money that you are going to commit to using this thing, and they will push you across the finish line. So you got to bring, probably you got to take the ball 49% of the way. They'll take it 51% of the way. Where if you use a NetSuite, they are going to take the ball negative 15% of the way. Then you got to bring it all the way there with third-party support.
I'll give you a good example too. Like we just implemented the production module at one of our brands recently, and they did such a good job that we were able to fly one of our teammates from India over, and he largely handled the implementation himself. Like almost no C-suite involvement, and it was just him, our production manager, and then one of the ops guys. So it was like 3-4 guys just implemented the whole thing, and that's for an op with like 120 employees doing manufacturing, really complex work, etc. Not fun, very labor intensive. So that was super cool to see, and I think we're already going to save. What's the savings? I forgot what it was, like 1% of revenue was the equivalent, or 1.2% of revenue. So pretty, like you look at that, that's a lot of savings, right? For something that we could do with one of our employees that we flew over from India. So
Dude,
super awesome.
If Fulfill works for the gremlins of the world, like me and Meetab, and it works for,
I prefer a cockroach.
Okay, the cockroaches, the gremlins, the goblins, it can work for you too. So big Fulfill supporters, here to help with whatever you need. Thank you for supporting the Operators Podcast. They're doing webinars to help you learn how to do ops better. Thank you so much, guys. Welcome to the Operators Podcast, episode 9000. We're welcome back. We have really cool stuff to talk about. We're the number one podcast on earth for a reason. It's just me and Matt today, the only two operators you want to hear from. I've read the comments. I've read the reviews. People do not like the other operators. They're only here for Sean and Matt. So Matt, how are you?
Dude, great. We've been doing this officially for 180 years. If we're on episode 9000. I don't like to do public math, but that's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, we're the number one podcast on earth for a reason. And we have a new operators, agenda to talk about. If you're signed up, if you're listening right now and you sell your business, you owe us 1%. So that is a new thing that we're rolling out. It's a terms of service for all of the listeners, and I'm happy to collect.
Equity, immediate vest.
Yeah, across the board, dude. So Matt, what do you want to talk about, man?
Let's talk about how to be likable. So soft skills. And I'll tee this up by saying I've been listening to and reading a lot of content lately about like enduring businesses, like companies that last a really long time. And the question that inevitably comes up for me is, if you knew that you had to run your company for 20 or 30 years, what would you do differently? And then I had like a whole list of stuff that kind of came out of that. And one of those things was, well, you would be nicer to everybody. Like you would actually try to be likable. You would try to build like strong community and strong culture. And then your message yesterday about the show today is like, we should talk about soft skills. I'm like, perfect. Let's talk about soft skills. So I want to know, I guess let's start this off by, because I think what we can do today is like go through, are there things that people can do to get better at this? Right. But why do you think this is important? Like you brought this up, you sent the message off. Like you think soft skills is actually how you make more money. Why is that? Where'd that come from?
Yeah. Well, first, the reason why we're doing this episode today is we chose the most likable operators. So we could not do this episode with Jason on here. It wouldn't make any sense. No.
Welcome back to the Sean and Matt show.
Yeah. Just ripping those guys. I love and appreciate them. Well, I was just thinking what has made me successful in my career. And like, we're trying to make sure this podcast is helpful for like a bigger, wider group of people, right? So I want e-com operators to be able to listen, but also people who are new in their career or who or want to be an executive someday. And I don't actually have that many hard skills, right? Like I know about marketing, right? And I've been in e-commerce long enough to know about products and whatever, but I started my career in services, right? I had an agency business, and that is just a soft skills game, right? That is getting people to like you and give you money, and then finding people to work for you to deliver those skills, right? Like it is very much just a connector of people. And as people listening might think that I'm prickly or weird or I think soft skills have really defined all of the money I've made. So I just think like we should circle back on the importance. And then also in the world of AI, where AI is better at hard skills than you and can get more done and can research more. And like right now, a human still has to prompt it, but like we're going to get to agentic everything being solved. The only thing left is soft skills in the physical world. So I think it's the clearest way to make more money, to make an impact on the world. And people always say that like, the bigger up you get, it's just all people, right? Like, running teams, running organizations, though that's just soft skills. So Matt, do you disagree with that or what are you thinking?
No, man. One of the things I've been thinking about, I think I've written about it a few times, is I think in an AI first world, we become weirdly more human. And that like all things that humans truly value, or like maybe a lot of people don't realize they value it, but they will at some point, is like the human connection, slow experiences. And I was recently thinking in my own company, I'm like, if AI could do everything, what are the jobs it can't do? And I'm like, oh, salespeople, right? Because like people still buy from people. And like all of our B2B, wholesale, retail, like all that is still humans. So until we enter a world where like AI is literally making buying decisions for companies, humans matter. And like actually learning how to build relationships with people matters a lot. And I would say that almost all of my financial success is because of my network. And then you can't build that without soft skills.
Yeah, dude. And I think COVID kind of did like a big number on, like the in-person. I mean, like this shows through a screen, and like everything is because of social media. But I do think soft skills in person, like the actual networking, the actual seeing people, it will just create more opportunity for you. And it's very hard to replicate that. It just takes a really long time.
Yeah, there's some people who are born with it, like they're just naturally gifted. And I think this is one of those things that you can actually build, right? Like, so like I'm naturally, I don't know about you actually, I've never asked you this, but I'm naturally more introverted. So I don't get charged up by going into social situations. Whereas like I have friends where like that is their number one energy source, is being around other people. I get exhausted. I want to go home and like curl up in a ball if I have to do like an event for 3 days. Like after our thing in LA, I'm like, I'm done. Like just everybody leave me alone. I'm going to turn the lights off for 48 hours. So I think that for a lot of people right now, everything is behind a screen. And in some weird way, getting out from behind the screen is actually going to make you better behind the screen. Totally. So like so much is over Google Meets or Zoom, right? But like, dude, you can tell when somebody's awkward when you get on a video call with them. I'm like, oh, you need to get out and meet some people. Like, yeah, go hang out with other humans.
Totally. I mean, to steal a line from you, you always say breathe some air or breathe the same air, right?
Yeah. Like I got to breathe the same air.
Yeah, I think that's good. The other thing, going back to like, why is this so important for soft skills? The industry is just so small, right? Like I didn't appreciate that when I was 24 years old. I'm like, LA has 10 million people. Like you can burn a bridge and like, never circle back. But like the people who are going to be in it for a long time, the people you knew when you were 24, they'll end up being executives at companies and like doing cool shit. And it is good just to keep friendly relations with as many people as possible. And this is like what the best salespeople do, the best agencies do, right? Like it's just keeping a lot of people in your orbit.
Yeah, and it's no coincidence that at the very top of most organizations, especially service-based businesses, they tend to be the people who are most likable. I find that I wrote that down the other night. I'm like, I actually have a hard time thinking, like there are certain jobs, clearly, like you could be the very best brain surgeon in the world and be a complete and still be totally employable. But like that's healthcare. And I was trying to think, I'm like, well, what other industries can you be amazing and be just fine? And that's a very small list. So like, there's a good chance if you're listening to this, you're not on that list.
Yeah. So it's like, it's anything that has like objective performance tied to it. Like, okay, what's the approved list, right? It's like, it can be professional athletes, right? They pretty famously have some egos tied to them, but there's also stories of guys who flame out because they're not just good team players. Like there's also guys who get really far for just being a good hang, right? So there's a lot of different ways to win in life. But yeah, what are some other things you could be a total at and still be top 1%?
I think like, so in business, I think if you happen to stumble into a once in a generation company, so like people often point to like Steve Jobs or Elon, and like their leadership style is very harsh. And apparently Steve was very difficult to work for, and Elon is clearly hard to work for. But I think that those are like such rare companies that it kind of works because people are willing to tolerate them being just because they get a chance to build, like, I'm putting rockets in space, something like that, or I'm building the iPhone, right? So like, you're just going to tolerate it. Like, bro, we're in consumer. I sell phone cases. I need people to like me to work here. Like, I need people to like actually being around the other people that are here. And like, there's enough studies on this. So like, it's the reason that people stay at companies is because they have friends in those companies. So I don't know why some founders, well, I have theories, but like, I don't know why some founders or entrepreneurs, leaders, whatever, C-level, think that they can get away without trying there.
Well, you said the word friend. How many friends do you have in the organization, right? As the top dog, like where does that word friend extend down to?
Dude, like people I would hang out with outside of the company?
Yeah.
1. 2. Well, do I get to count my business partner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like my co-founder, I literally live next door to the guy. Like he is my next door neighbor. We mountain bike together. We have the same group of friends. Like we do a lot of life together. And then my chief of staff, Jeff, he's in that same group of friends. Like he's 62 years old. He's like the gray hair in the company. He actually runs the company. I really don't. Jeff is like the master of soft skills. Like this guy is, I like to call his middle name is Pepto-Bismol. Like this guy can calm like anybody down. I hang out with him. I don't know. Like I have always found it difficult to be friends with employees.
Yeah. And I think this is a good lesson for everybody, right? Because so Ridge was very scrappy not that long ago, right? I mean, 6 years ago, me and Connor lived together, but also the 3 founders of Ridge also lived together. So it's like, that's the culture of the company, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, we were early to mid 20s just trying to figure it out. Maybe that was longer than 6 years ago at this point. It's been a long time we've done this business.
Dude, you're getting old.
Yeah. But there's still a lot of friendship at the top executive level of this business, right? Like a lot of those guys came to my wedding, and you know, when you have no money and you're all doing it together, like there is like a camaraderie, like a friendship that gets built those early years. But as the company gets bigger, you can't be friends with everybody. I would say I'm friendly with everybody. I hope people like me.
For sure.
Because you eventually have to fire people, and firing your friends is it hurts the relationship. Let me just say that it's very hard to fire your friends. Also, your friends are going to want to quit, and that's hard for them too, right? So it's a two-way street.
I don't think you should actually, like, it's sort of the same thing goes with like, you shouldn't ever try to build a company that feels like a family, and you shouldn't build a company that tries to feel like friends. It will happen though. Like, I think that that's actually a good lesson here is that forget us, right? Like, we're not the hero. If you look at your staff, like your employees, there's a good chance there's a lot of them that are friends. Like, I know that there are people on my team that hang out outside of work.
Right.
They post on their friggin' Instagram. It's like they're getting drinks all the time. They're socializing. They're at the beach on the weekend. I can see it. And I think that's a great thing. Yeah. Like, there is some downside to that, but that's a great thing. You should want that.
Right. So at some point in your company's journey, like if you're listening to this and you're doing $8 million or whatever, right now you are seeing these people that hang out with them every day, but as you professionalize, like there is some sort of isolation that goes to it. And, you know, I want everyone on my team to be friends. Like we do company retreats and everybody comes, and like, you know, we're in Vegas, everyone gets a couple $100, like they're having a lot of fun. We pay for shows or whatever. I don't go to any of those events because I don't want to be in the room with them. It's like, you know, it kills everyone's vibe. Like, it's not like, oh, hang out with your boss and tell him how much you like him day. It's like, no, go actually meet your coworkers. And at some point you have to like actually make that transition, which is really hard. And being an executive in a business.
Dude, I every holiday party I exit so early, like so early, just for that reason. I'm like, I want people to have fun. So myself, my co-founder, like I'm out of there by like 9 o'clock. I also go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it's my bedtime.
Yeah. And like the party's like not for us. You know what I mean?
No, it's for them. I think that actually, like, I wrote down like a bunch of things. It's like, how do you like, if you had to sit down and teach a new founder how to be likable, the first thing I came up with was like, you are not the hero, they are. And you need people in your company to feel important. They need to feel valued, and I think that that's like, while I believe the purpose of a business is to serve its shareholders, right? Like our businesses should be in service to us as shareholders. It's difficult to do that if you can't get people to follow you and you can't get people to actually like each other. So like, I think likable leaders don't dominate the spotlight. I think that's like a good core principle.
Yeah. I'm just thinking so we have a daily stand up. After we record this podcast, we wake up at 6:40 in the morning to record this podcast for everybody. We podcast for a couple hours and then I go do a stand up, which is, we have everybody in the whole company. I do have to talk on those. I have to lead a lot of those. I'm probably in the spotlight a little too much, but yeah, I think you're right. It's creating space where other people can feel seen and heard and, and shine, right? Because I don't do any work here. So it's like other people need to like feel empowered to get the work done. I think that is a good tip. The other tip I have for people is like removing pressure from situations that aren't actually mission critical, right? I think as a founder, a lot of the time you're like, I've been in agency business, I've gotten the text being like, this email has a typo, we're ruined, right? It's like, okay, you're selling mascara. it's like, okay, I'm sorry there's a typo, but like, you bring up Elon, landing rockets. It's like, yeah, that's a situation where a typo might kill people. Here it's like humans can barely read anymore. So like, it just doesn't matter. And having that, like the sense of humility about like what we're doing doesn't actually matter all that much, right? I'm making widgets, right? It's like, okay, oh no, I have typos in my widgets. I think it's actually all pretty okay. Matt, what do you think about that?
Dude, I'm thinking of this years ago, like this is probably 5 or 6 years ago. We put out an ad for Pila that was like a spoof on I don't know if you remember the Mac versus PC ads. It was like Justin Long versus like this nerd in a suit. And we put out this ad of like this, my VP marketing at the time, she found a friend of hers who was like the perfect Barbie character. And we were kind of going after like all the plastic cases. So like this is her idea, it's not even mine. And her idea was like, we're going to dress up her friend as like Barbie, as this like super fake plastic, like just no soul person. And then she cast this like hipster, cool, like half Asian, half white dude, like just the coolest guy you've ever met as like the Pila case. Okay. So we put this ad out thinking it was a good idea. And like this thing went viral in the wrong way. We got just destroyed on social. And my team was like, we were having like a summer party and my team was so upset and they were beating themselves up. And I got to the party and they showed me like, dude, we're at like 1 million views and people hate us right now. And I'm like, I grabbed a beer. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, they'll forget tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Right? Like just being able to not take this seriously and showing them, yeah, take your work, like do great work, but like nobody's bleeding out of the table here. They're just angry at the internet, man. They're screaming into the pillow. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And I wish I could give that advice to just everybody. So like, like main character of the internet. So, we're very close with Marquez Brownlee. There's been a couple times in the past year where he's been the main character on the internet and it sucks. Nobody wants to do that, right? One time I tweeted about how I didn't like trains and like people threatened to kill me. And like people asked me why I changed my profile pic. I'm like, yeah, people could identify where I lived in that profile photo. So I had to change it because people kept saying they were going to kill me because I didn't like trains. But yeah, look. All that is like, going viral in the wrong way. I think that's happened to you a couple times. Like,
oh yeah, it happened recently. It just, dude, if you're not crashing, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, dude, totally. And also, people have a lot of time on their hands, and there's a lot of people, right? Like we're at the point where everybody's on the internet. It used to be the internet was a cool thing that you and your buddies just like knew about, and like, you know, normies weren't on there. Now every political point is on there, and no matter what you say, you are gonna piss somebody off. So it's like, look, unfortunately, we have to advertise. So this is where it is. You're gonna run afoul sometimes, and it just doesn't matter. The internet's fake.
So Northbeam just launched clicks and deterministic views, breakthrough attribution model that deterministically captures view-based performance of ad spend. This is huge. This means advertisers can attribute conversions and revenue to ad impressions and not just focus on one-day click. This is a really hard problem to solve. I'm so totally stoked that Northbeam this on. This new advanced multi-touch attribution model expands on their clicks-only model by incorporating proprietary in-app events from participating ad platforms. And these third-party events are validated by Northbeam's first-party pixel data, offering a more complete and accurate view of marketing performance. I just think this is so useful in today's environment. So many ad platforms have idiosyncrasies in user behavior that result in engagement metrics being more impactful on conversion than most conversion tracking software can measure. You know, platforms like Snapchat and TikTok, impressions are extremely important. Users are likely to click off of those platforms to make a conversion. But research from Snap and TikTok both prove that users have high brand recall off ads they've seen on those respective platforms. And rather than leaving the app instantly to make a purchase, the users are making purchases later, leaving conversions that are unattributed to ads without Northbeam's CDV model. And so clicks and deterministic views are going to help you track the real value of your ads on more impression focused platforms. So check it out with Northbeam.
Okay, so I got another one for you. To be likable, let's just go back to this. I think great founders demonstrate like an insatiable curiosity. So they ask a lot more questions than they speak, and they listen a lot more than they speak. And I think this actually leads into judgment, like curiosity over judgment. Because like judgment shuts people down, and I think likable people are just genuinely curious about others. So I have this thing, and again, this is all just like learned behavior. I didn't naturally do this. Like in my first company, I would go to work in the morning and I just wouldn't care. I'm here to get done, man. I don't even think I talked to like my employees most days, my first few years. And we all sat together in the same room, and I just sort of like put my headphones on and started coding like everybody else. But today, I try my best to be like genuinely interested in how people are doing. It's like, I am curious, like, how was your weekend? How was your wedding? How is the new baby? I know their husbands' names or their partners' names. Like, I think that it goes a long way to just show people that you're interested and just be curious about their life. What do you think of that one?
Well, I'm not there on that journey yet. So I mean, it sounds nice. I think having a kid maybe made you like maybe more open to that.
Yeah. You become a full human when you have another one.
Yeah. So look, I'm still not on that journey yet. I would say I'm interested, friendly, but like I'm still talking way too much on all the meetings. Like people look at me and they're like, well, "What's Sean going to say? Sean just supposed to talk right now." So yeah, maybe look. There's a lot of different ways to be likable. I think people enjoy the depressurization of rage, where like, you know, we do not take it too seriously, and then let's talk about actually turning soft skills into money. Right. So like, how have you been able to do that?
Oh, dude, for me, this is actually where I think I practiced the most. I spent the 5 years going to every single event I could, like every mastermind I could get into, anything I could weasel my way into an invite, I would do it. It was awkward at the beginning. I sucked at it, but that network, the people I met today, not only are some of those people like my best friends and I go on vacations with them and our kids are in the same schools and we do everything. That's all great. Some of those people are my investors. I've invested in their companies. They've made me a load of cash. there's not a problem I encounter in my business where I don't know a person, not in the business, but like a person in my network who can actually help solve the problem. And to me, that's immediately that's money. That's cash. That is so financially lucrative. I think I sold my first company because of my network. So I think the soft skills thing doesn't have a direct, you invest in it, it just pumps out money. But my experience would tell me that you invest in this stuff, you get good at it, and it will absolutely create value. A lot of it.
Yeah, I think you said the word direct. I think there's direct and indirect ways, right?
But what's direct? Do you have some examples? What would be a direct, I guess sales?
Yeah. I was going to say your first business was services. My first business was services.
Selling.
Yeah, and it is I make jokes about SaaS companies taking us to sports games, but look, they have to have a chance to create a human connection to win you over. Because why would I use Amazon Buy with Prime, or why would I use Northbeam over some other thing, right? And there's practical reasons, right? They do a service, right? I use Northbeam, or maybe a better one is Postscript, because Postscript is SMS now. At the core of SMS, it is a commodity service. Postscript has built tools and features to make it better, but they have to explain that to you, right? They have to have a chance to actually get that done. And I think the soft skills open the door. Talking about soft skills, Alex Bell is one of the coolest dudes ever, right? So he just has them. So my first business selling soft skills, I sold Ridge a contract to do their marketing services, right? And now I'm the CEO of Ridge. Roughly 10 years later, we figured that out. All the money I have is because of my ability to get in the room with them and be like, hey, let me explain to you everything I know about marketing. And they want to be in the room because I'm at least making jokes, right?
Yeah.
And then the indirect way is employee retention. Yesterday, Ridge did hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. I play no part in that anymore. Right. It's not even Connor, right? Connor's running the team that actually makes all that happen. Right. And I'm running the product team, or I'm talking to the guy who runs the product team to make that happen. So it's now indirectly the system's in place where I'm just kind of managing it and making sure those people stay plugged in. Right. And if we lose a critical person, I'm going out there and recruiting somebody else. So that's the direct and the indirect way. And yeah, dude, all your network, very indirect, but it's made you who you are today.
Yeah, 100%. I think the employee thing is huge because it's also starts at the top, right? If you and Connor and the other founders of Ridge all put value on soft skills, that will bleed down into the organization. People will see how you guys interact with each other. And then when you bring somebody else in, your first hires are basically little mini-me's. Especially if you're a first-time founder, you do not have the actual experience or know-how to hire somebody objectively. You just hire the person you want to have a beer with.
Totally.
That's just how it works, right? So the first 10 people in your company are little clones of yourself. That's most probable. So I think how you actually lead and how you show up, pretty important, because those 10 people, if they're good and they can grow with the company, they're then going to be the ones hiring other people. So if you start out just not really investing too heavily in being pretty good on the soft skill side, being likable, I think down the line that bites you in the ass. And it would come in the quality of the people you have around you. You wind up with talented terrors.
Totally.
Right? Nothing worse.
Yeah. And so let's talk about early teams being homogenous. I think it's not a coincidence that me and Connor were born 6 months apart or whatever, right? It's because there's just a lot of cultural cues, being a young dude living in suburbia, being the age we were when we came up. There's shared history and knowledge and culture, and so it's very quick to get to what the hell we want to talk about. And me and my wife were born 3 months apart, right? I think there's no coincidence that these things happened. Is that we're very quickly getting on the same page because we have a lot of shared experiences, especially in the age of the internet when we came up. It's not we have to be from the same town anymore. We watch the same movies and on the same YouTube channels. So I think your first hires do end up being very homogenous, but then as companies get bigger, you need different skills. You have to recruit those people in. I mean, for maybe 6 years, I don't think any women worked at Ridge. You know what I mean? Like that is like the reality, right? It was Daniel and his buddies, and it was me and Connor, and then we slowly built out this thing. Now we have a very strong female leadership team. But like that is,
but it kind of makes sense though. Like it also makes sense because your customer was also you. Like it was basically like you guys were selling sort of to yourselves, right? It's like we're selling to other young men. I had to add women to my team right away because our customer is like 90% female, and I'm not.
right.
So like I kid you not, I have a phone in my office. I think I've said this before. I have a phone that I get all the girls to use Instagram. So it's like it defaults to a female perspective of Instagram. So I can pick this phone up. It just sits on my desk over here, and I can actually browse Instagram as a like 25-year-old woman.
Yeah,
because
dude.
my feed's not like that.
No, yeah, dude, your feed's hockey highlights and grilling
Dude, I
videos.
got watches and like blowing up and mountain bikes, like people doing dumb, like men doing dumb things in the world. You know?
It is weird how much the internet's been siloed. Most brands are leaving money on the table with SMS. Not us at Ridge. SMS is our #1 revenue driver, and Postscript is the reason why. Here's the deal. SMS is an email. If you treat it like email, you're doing it wrong. Postscript gets it. They help brands like ours turn SMS into a high margin, high ROI channel. And here is 5 reasons why Postscript prints money for us. They stole the 5 reasons why landing page from all the D2C operators, but here you go. 5 reasons why Postscript print money for us. 1, we stop wasting sends. Blast and text randomly, bad move, expensive move. Postscript dialed in our automations and subscriber LTV tracking. The results, our abandoned cart recovery rate doubled. They told me that. They did the data. It doubled. More subscribers equals more cash. List growth isn't just about getting numbers up. It's about getting buyers in. Postscript's AI pop-ups and cashback incentives powered by Fondue grew our list 3 times faster. And those people are actually spending money. AI-powered SMS equals instant conversions. Customers don't wait around. If you're not answering instantly, you're losing sales. Postscript AI does the heavy lifting. We went from hour-long response times to closing sales in seconds. An hour-long response time is actually best in class. We have an amazing customer service team using Richpanel and other awesome tools, but it still takes hours to respond to all these people coming in. With AI-powered SMS, we're getting instant conversions. The #4 reason why Postscript is the king of SMS. Postscript auto-optimizes for profit. They have this new thing called infinity testing. It consistently finds the best messages to send. No guesswork. We saw a 20% revenue boost just by letting it run. #5, we're not getting fined. 1 SMS compliance mistake equals a lawsuit. Postscript makes sure we don't mess this up. We scale without worrying about legal headaches. The bottom line is brands are winning at SMS and growing faster than anybody else because they're using Postscript. If you're serious about scaling up, go to postscript.io, tell them Sean sent you, and get a free SMS audit. Your competitors are going to do this. If you sell pans, they are rushing right now. So if you're not on Postscript, you got to get here before your competitors. Get that free SMS audit. And the results for Ridge in 2024, we had 1 million opt-ins. We had 500,000 new subscribers. Revenue was $37 million, grew 100% year over year just on SMS. The ROI, 108x. This is a 151% increase year over year. We had 106% increase in revenue, 108x ROI, and close to 500,000 new subs. SMS is killing it for Ridge. We think Postscript is the way to go. We think Postscript is the best name in SMS. They have a 5 reason why. They're not going to waste money on send. They're not going to leave your customers out to dry. You're going to get more subscribers. They're going to instantly convert them with AI. They have auto optimization for profit. They're going to keep you compliant. I think SMS is still the frontier of messaging to customers, and Postscript's the best name in it. Ridge did $40 million in SMS last year. This year will probably double again, $100 million in SMS probably because of Postscript. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast. Thank you guys. Talk to you later. All right, Matt. So we just did 30 minutes on soft skills. I think maybe that's enough soft skills. We should pivot to a different topic, but let's summarize it for the audience. Why are soft skills so important? How do they make you money? You have some good tips you written down.
Dude, I think ultimately you're going to see, I think the framing of indirect and direct is great, but I think that you will actually find your life and business is far more enjoyable if you go into it trying to be likable. I think that being likable will make you more money. you will find that like there's just a law of attraction. This is just how the universe works. But like people will want to work with you and for you. They will want to tell other people to come work with you. Every meeting you go into will be more fun. Like I actually, like people say I hate meetings. I'm like, I don't. I like hanging out with my, like just talking creative and solving. I might go into meetings and get annoyed because we're talking about the same thing for too long. But I overall just like interacting with the people I work with because they're great people. We have fun. And I don't think you can have fun in business if you don't actually try to be likable. I don't know how that works. Like there's two opposing thoughts.
Yeah, dude, I totally like the idea of trying to go into the day, trying to have like a fun quotient to fill up. It's like, okay, we have to have
I love that.
some amount of laughs today. Because dude, look, if you wanted, like, I always tell the team this, we've chose to make money the hard way, like selling weird things on the internet, right? Like if you wanted to make more money, you should get into oil and gas, right? And if you want to do something serious, like, yeah, Elon is catching rockets. So go apply there. So like nothing we do is life and death. Things can kind of wait. And like the very worst thing that happens is the customer's mad about their wallet. We'll ship them a new one. Right. So
dude, 100%. You know, another one, since we're so digital now, I think people need to relearn how to write, and that people should just write like they speak. You're actually really good at this. Like if you ever watch Sean's like posts on Twitter and then you meet Sean in real life, that's the same person. Like 100%. You literally just write like you speak. And I think a lot of people in corporate America, so like this speaks to the non-founders now, but so much of our life is digital and it's like on Slack or via email or like you're writing a memo. And my God, the jargon and the buzzwords and these like long paragraphs, nobody speaks this way. So I think a very easy way to just be more likable is to write like you speak, especially in this digital world. It will go so far.
Well, dude, also, it's just proof you're not using AI. You know what I mean?
That's true too.
I mean, I'm very much like what you see is what you get, right? So whatever I'm typing, it's exactly how I'm going to be. But that's just proof, it's coming from me, dude, because everyone's just running everything through AI now.
Let me ask you a question. Are you more of a like praise people in public kind of guy, critique in public, like, or do you go one-on-one with people? Like if you want to say something nice to them or you have like feedback.
Yeah. What I found is best. And this is a good tip. I mean, people listen to the podcast for those sick tips, right? So we're an educational podcast. We don't have to be funny and entertaining. So like all that likable doesn't really apply here, but this is a good tip for everybody. We have a company stand up and people really like getting shout outs on the company stand up, right? So it's everybody in the whole company and they're being told they did a great job. That works, but I can't do that for everybody every day or become disingenuous, right? Am I just going to run through the list of every employee? You did good, you did good, you did good. So it's like spiraling, dishing those out. And then if I want to do like more team morale boosting, I probably haven't done this at all this year, but it's probably once a quarter. I just individually DM every single employee being like, hey, I noticed you did this. You did a very good job at this. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for caring. Thanks for working here. And it takes a whole night because 100 people to send 100 individual messages and think about what they did. But
dude, that matters.
Yeah, it totally matters. Like going above and beyond, making sure people feel seen. So I'm just dedicating more time to do more of that.
But that's good leader. I think that's really good leadership. I really do. Again, this just comes back to I think in North America, we build companies to exit them. And if you build a company to you've been in Ridge now for a while, you're probably going to be in Ridge for a while longer. This is going to make your life more enjoyable. Like, man, you want to talk about soft skills, making more money. If you don't like running your company or being in your company, that's bad for your wallet. It's just straight up. You will burn out. You'll flame out. You'll quit. You're gonna do something because you can't exist like that for long. So I think that's really important. The other thing I do is, and I'm just a fan of this, especially with every company, whether you're at the very top or there's people within the organization, there are people that are around you that are more important relationship wise than others, right? So my EA is a good example of this. she has been my EA for 5 years. She just went on mat leave. She just had a baby. So I don't have her now for 9 months. My life is awful. Alyssa needs to come back to work. I like her mat leave replacement, Erin. She's great too, but like I really like Alyssa. But when she went on mat leave, it's like the first thing I did is I bought her $1,000 in DoorDash cards. Like we call it skip the dishes here, just because I know that like food is going to be the biggest thing that they deal with. So I think that there's ways to do little things for the people in your organization. Like I'll give you examples. Like I had a lead developer in my last company. His anniversary was coming up, and him and his wife had not been in the same place for a while. There was some like immigration thing. So like the minute she was in town, like I sent them out for dinner together. Like that kind of is so inexpensive, but it builds loyalty and retention. And that's how you make more money. It's like you need people to be with you, I guess is the short of that.
Yeah, look, and like this is the unfair ask for an executive, because you have to be in charge of all the money coming in, all the problems, everything stops at your door, and then you have your own life, right? You have your own family, you have your own people trying to hang out with you, your own friends, whatever, and then you have to care about 60 people underneath you or 100 people underneath you. You have to go above and beyond to care about more people. It is just you do have a larger basket of responsibilities, right? Like it's just you're in charge of way more shit, and finding the capacity to get that done is hard. That's why most people probably should not be an executive.
Dude, I tell people this all the time. It's like I had somebody recently, we were chatting about just like career advice and like how to move up in their career. I'm like, maybe you shouldn't. You know, like the further up, if you look at like a traditional organization, the further up you go, the more it rolls uphill.
Totally.
So like the more people that like you have to be responsible for, the more that your job is less about getting work done. Like this person in particular is a doer. They like to be productive. Their identity is tied up in it, and they should, because like they're amazing at their work. They should never move up into management. When I was in way back when I was like in software, software engineers fall victim to this all the time. Right? Less so today, I think, because like you can be an individual contributor in like a meta as an engineer and make a lot of cash. But like you used to have to go into management of some kind. And like, I don't know how many software developers you've met. They're not good people, like broadly. Like these are, when I was building stuff, I'm like, most of my friends were socially terrible. So like they should never be in charge of other humans.
Yeah, there's some sort of law that like it's like promotion to mediocrity. It's like if you're really good, you get promoted, and then you get promoted until you stop being good, right? Like and it's just a mismatch of careers. So I'm glad it sounds like Meta fixed it, but yeah, totally. Like people get promoted to jobs they shouldn't have. You might remember that Ridge switched to Richpanel about a year ago. Since then, our orders are climbing, yet support tickets aren't. Richpanel's self-service portal now lets 47% of our shoppers solve their own issues instantly. We used to answer every single ticket with a person. Now, that one change is on track to save us $500,000 in support salaries just this year. Our customer satisfaction is at an all-time high. It's above 96%. And we're doing that with less people, with more orders. AI is all the rage. E-com operators are finding ways to leverage AI and improve the revenue per employee. Rage targets over $2 million per full-time employee, and Richpanel is helping us achieve that goal. Richpanel offers one of the most straightforward ways to leverage AI and improve your bottom line. Here's how Richpanel's AI is different from anything else out there. First, Richpanel spends the first 24 hours just learning your past conversations. Then it takes all that knowledge and creates self-guided service flows. There's no chatbots, there's no hallucinations. It is just exactly what your customers need to see and hear to solve their problems immediately after that first 24 hours. Our team saw the impact on day one. We're getting more tickets. They're being resolved faster, better, with a higher level of competency, and a higher level of satisfaction, all with less people on the team. So if you're serious about boosting revenue per employee and freeing agents to do higher value tasks, book a demo. Switching is painless. They do data migration. They train the staff. Everything's handled. It's a white glove service for operators listeners. Brands like Ridge, Jones Road, Pila, Lomi, they're all already switched and they rely within 2 weeks. They guarantee 30% ticket reduction in the first 60 days or your money back. Think about that. you're going to get a bunch of customers coming to you. Q4 is just around the corner, and they guarantee 30% reduction in human tickets in the first 60 days. If that's interesting to you, go to richpanel.com/demo to book a demo. That's RICH panel.com/demo. Get started today. Thank you so much, Richpanel, for supporting the world's #1 e-commerce podcast and being on the greatest show on earth. Let's get back to it. Matt, I'm gonna ask you a question. This is just interview Matt section. I was just thinking, you talked about, not everybody should be an executive, like rolling uphill, people shouldn't be promoted. Do you feel like you've made any career mistakes? Can you think of anything you're like, oh, that was a mistake?
Oh, like when I was an employee?
Or like things that like you should have done differently in your career. Obviously your career worked out. You're a co-host of the most successful podcast on earth. But like, is there things that like actual tips for listeners, right? You're starting to get a little bit of gray hair in the organization. So like, what are some mistakes you've made in your career?
So as a founder, like as an entrepreneur, I think there was a period of time in my career where I think it was like the Simon Sinek years where like leaders eat last, and it was all about like being a servant leader. And I think I lost sight of the fact that my business was also there to serve me. And like the whole point of getting into business was to create wealth for myself. I lost sight of the asymmetry and the risk reward. So like I didn't pay myself enough. I left too much money in the business because like I just thought that's where it needed to be. So I think if I look back, it's like I just didn't capitalize as much on the risk that I was taking early on. And that might be easy to say in hindsight, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs, depending on the books you read, can fall victim to this. Like your company should still serve you. It's one of, if not the most important purpose of a business is to produce profit for its shareholders. And I think I spent like a good 3 or 4 years like on the reverse of that, thinking that I was here to serve the company.
That's interesting. I'm in the middle of that right now where I have not paid myself all year. So I've been living off of, Twitter payouts basically.
But why?
So sales are up this year, profits up this year, but as soon as the tariff hit, like we just didn't know how crazy it was going to get. So we did a riff. We fired 12 something people, and I'm not going to do that lightly. If I'm going to fire 12 people, I'm like the first person to take a cut was me. So I took a cut, months before that, where I'm like, hey, I think things are going to get weird. We had some sort of tips that like we were going to enter into a more populist, or nationalistic situation, just because like we have relationships with warehouses in Mexico, and Mexico shut a bunch down. So we saw this happening, and so I took cuts way before that. So if I'm going to fire people, I'm going to probably eat first. But yeah, I'm in the middle of that right now. So it's a good lesson to share. What other great lessons? What are some failures you might have had in your career?
Oh my gosh, dude, saying yes to everything. So in my, like I did some stupid, like my first company like yours was Service. So we did like UX design and development in the early days of e-commerce. Like before there was Shopify and you could buy a theme, people used to pay a lot of money to get these stores built, like in the early 2000s. And that was my company. We would just build these things and do all the backend integrations long before Shopify was a thing. So dude, I was so hungry and so driven that if we had somebody come in and be like, this is my business and I want you to build me an e-commerce store, I would just say yes. So like I built a weird amount of firearms and like ammunition stores, like just very much against, not even against, like it was just out of alignment with like what I like to do. I'm like, I don't care about guns like at all. And I did that over and over and over again for a period of time where like we were just doing work that I was not interested in at all. I would say the only times I would say no is like where it was clearly like that's illegal. You can't sell that online. Like then that was obvious. Don't do that. but I've sold everything on the internet. Like I was doing the math the other day. I was looking back over like my last 20 years in e-commerce. I think if I tallied up like all of the sites that I had a hand in building or like initially growing, like all in over 20 years, I've probably sold like $6 billion worth of online. And in like every category that you could think of, like everything in a home, everything that you carry with you, car parts, like everything. And I think I look at how I act now and I say no 99 times out of 100. I don't know if this is just an age and a financial thing. Like I still, on the other end of that, Sean, is like the advice that you give, which is like, you should try to get financially secure as fast as possible. And I think I was just trying to do that, but I think I took it way too far. I was like, you can give me money? Yeah, I'll do that. Like, you want me to walk your dog? Sure. You know, I had no idea what I was worth.
Yeah, dude, no, a very wide breadth and then just doing whatever you like, because it is privilege advice being like, okay, you know, be selective with opportunities. And like it's one of those things where it's like, you know, you will come in and out of privilege throughout your life, right? So like, you know,
Totally.
if you're successful now, fantastic. You can have a very narrow focus on what you want to work on. But dude, I remember the agency days. I mean, we there was like we were doing like a Uber competitor. We were doing their SEO. We were like, we literally sold every possible service. Like,
yes,
like
yeah.
we did SEO and Google and Facebook and customer service, and I would do your ops for you, like whatever it took to get the client in the door. And because I'm like, we'll land and expand, right? There's a thing called The Live. They got bought by Target. We were doing their SEO, right? And then we were doing the company called Flex Cup. They were like a menstrual cup. We were doing their PPC. We were just doing their Google. So it's like, doesn't matter. We'll work with anybody for anything. So I've definitely been there.
Yeah, I think that it is easy to go back and say like, oh, you know, you should be selective with the opportunity. I think there is something to be said though, like when you're younger, to go very deep in one thing. You know, like I was like you, way too wide in what I was doing. Because like remember early to mid 2000s, the internet was, I think, much smaller than it is today. And the number of participants in the internet economy was much smaller. So like at that time, I knew how to write code. I've been doing it since I was like 11. I was just in a good spot to be like digitally native compared to most of my peer set. And there was just so much opportunity that I was just so wide. I was just doing way too much stuff. And I bet you I would be wealthier had I just gone more deep in like one area.
Yeah. Well, okay. Do you know how Discord betting groups work?
No.
Okay. I'll explain
that.
Okay. So it's like a very, very common scam on the internet in the modern age, right? Where you start posting Lamborghinis and Ferraris and airplanes on Instagram and Twitter, and you're like, I got this through gambling. If you want gambling tips, like, you know, sign up for my Discord or whatever.
That's a thing?
Yeah, dude, it's bad, but
okay.
Okay, so you're giving away gambling tips, and then the way it works is you don't know anything about gambling, but you have so many people in your group. Let's say you have 10,000 people. You give 5,000 people one team, you give 5,000 people the other team, right? Then half those people lose and they're pissed off, but you turn them, okay? Then you have 5,000 people who had the correct team, right? Now the next game comes up. You give 2,500 of them one team, you give 2,500 of them the next team. And you're guaranteed to get at the very end, you know, 10 people who really believe everything you say. And then you're like, okay, for the next tip, you have to give me $10,000 or whatever, right?
Oh, God.
Because you just made them so much money 5 trips in a row. They're like, this guy never loses. But it's just this law of large numbers. How does that relate to what you're talking about? That is going wide, right? So like that when my agency was doing everything for everybody, I was just getting incredibly wide at who was going to pay me the most amount of money for what thing. And then
same.
I found the winner, my betting group. I found Ridge, right? So like, if I go back in time, there's probably a way where I could have just narrowly focused on one of those things and got way more equity or way faster or way more money or figured some out, but I didn't. I took the wide approach. I think you took the wide approach as well, right?
I did, yeah. And I think I think I wasted a lot of time on a bunch of crap, but ultimately, that's the thing. Like, ultimately, we did narrow our focus, and ultimately, we did sell that company in 2018. And even that company and all of the investment in like building network led me to meet my current business partners, and I invested in this company, and on and on and on, right? Like, it kind of all has worked out, but I do look back and I'm like, there were definitely things that had I gone deeper in that, it would have been far more lucrative. I just missed it.
Yeah. And that's like, I ask you this question. It's very unfair because I was thinking the whole time, I'm like, can I think of any personal failures in my career? And it's really hard. There's things I've gotten wrong, but like, I like doing all of them. Like, I'm really glad we got here.
Yeah.
There's definitely paths where I could have made more money. I'll give you an example. Me and Connor sold a service at the agency where we would pay for upvotes on Reddit. Okay. So like if you had a subreddit and you wanted to, like, you know, if someone was saying bad things about you and you wanted to have a good post be at the top, we would get that done for you. Right.
Sure.
And we had to pay for those in crypto. Right. So this is like 2016.
Oh my
This
God.
is before the crypto run up, right? Like I think we were buying Ethereum for $20, right? So like, cause the person wanted Ethereum or Bitcoin. So we were making all those purchases. And so if I just would have purchased a little bit more, then I would be worth a ton of money, right? But like, you know, I lost sight of that. I'm like, well, whatever, this is just some weird internet currency so I can buy these weird illegal upvotes or whatever.
So I think I was the first one on the team here to use Saras because I was really excited about getting a data warehouse at HexCloud. I just felt like with all of our channels, everywhere we're spending, we had a bunch of different tools that we were looking at. And I just wanted all the data in one place because I just thought that we were missing out and leaving money on the table. And I really thought that having a clean data warehouse we were going to make money. Like we were just the return on this is huge. And I'm seeing it already. You know, I asked the growth team at HexCloud to send me information, and like they sent me these awesome looking sheets, and I'm like, is that from Saras? And yeah, I'm like, so I'm stoked. Everyone at the organization is adopting it. At the management level, for me, it's really, really important that I don't have to go. People send me 5 different spreadsheets or digging around, and they pull data. Like every single piece of data at HexCloud is being pulled into Saras, and I'm really stoked.
Yeah, Jason got me on it. You know, and I was super hesitant about data lakes, data warehouses. Like you hear these things all the time, and I'm like, our business is too simple. Like, why am I going to pay an additional fee to have, you know, the information I already have access to put in one place? But then they actually set the thing up for me, and then I realized like how backwards what we were doing was. So we have something called the daily growth dashboard. Okay, and it's all spend from all marketing channels and all revenue from all markets put into one thing, and then that's just grown over time. We've been using it for like 8 years at this point. So there's so much data in there, and it's so manually manipulated. So we have somebody pull in ring revenue in Canada every day. Okay. So we probably have 4 full-time people who are just feeding information into this. And Saras just replaces all of that. Saras is like, look, we'll just hook up directly into all the Shopify markets. We have 5 of them. We'll pull in all of the Amazon markets. We have 8 of them. We'll pull in wholesale information. We'll pull information from Fulfill. And so I've rebuilt the daily growth dashboard, but with actual data connection and not just people typing into spreadsheets. So you get more accurate information, and then you just have the next layer of insight to pull from there. So now I can see ring customer cohorts from Amazon. We never had that before because no one was actually pulling that information in. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, it probably pays for itself just from like the data entry employees that don't have to do that anymore.
And what I'm most excited about too, Sean, is like how we layer AI over all this data at some point. You know, like I want to chat GPT this stuff and just be like, hey, tell me what this was then, and compare this year over year, and not have to like log in and look stuff up. Like I'm getting Tableau reports and things like this out of it, but I want to just be able to talk to it and get it there. And I think that's next.
Yeah. And so one reason I was hesitant is I thought the future would be Shopify built in AI, right? Or Claude hooks up to Shopify and Amazon and all these different things. But actually, I don't think that's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is you're going to have to take your data and put it into something you own and control, a data lake or a data warehouse or whatever you want to call it. And so that's why I embrace Saras. I think Shopify will roll out a data tool, or other people will build awesome AI data tools that then you take your data and plug it into. So if you want to be ready for an AI future, there's a couple different ways AI could happen. I think the most likely one is you actually have to have all your data in one place. I don't think it's going to be smart enough to pull in just rich Amazon data or whatever. So anyway, you have to set that up. You got to pay people to do it. We went with Saras based on Jason's recommendation. I'm paying them. I was paying them before they sponsored the podcast, but they like Jason so much, they came on board. So thank you so much.
Did I ever tell you my Ethereum story?
No, please.
Oh God. Okay. So again, go back to networking and the value of relationships and the value of soft skills. So one of the guys in this mastermind group that I got into, it's like 150 of us. This 150 people, by the way, that I met a decade ago in Napa at this event, like, dude, the people in that event were like, it's hilarious. It's like Ryan Holiday and Tim Ferriss. And like, you just go through it. It's like everybody much earlier in their careers, kind of everybody was like looking for connection of other people doing cool shit. Happened to be like a really good 150 people. Anyway, one of the guys, his name is Dimitri, and Dimitri's son at the time was working on this like crypto thing. He was a really smart kid. Dimitri's son turned out to be Vitalik Buterin.
Yeah.
So I remember thinking, I'm like, this sounds shady. Like, why are you investing in this? Like, I get he's your kid and everything, but like, and Dimitri, I think, had a really successful SaaS company too. Right? Like he was in his own right, a great entrepreneur and a really smart guy. And I remember sitting in a room listening to him talk about this Ethereum thing, like this crypto project. And I'm like, imagine just putting like $5,000 into that stupid thing at that time. Yeah. Instead of just dismissing it outright as like, that was the craziest idea I'd heard at that time.
Yeah. So look, I mean, I think there's all these pockets in your career where like, okay, if I would have zigged when I would have zagged, I would have made more money. But, avoiding bankruptcy, avoiding failure is like probably the number one rule of the game.
Did you ever get close?
Well, I didn't have any money. That's the thing. It's like, dude, close.
I guess you're already at zero. You are close.
Yeah, like close. I mean, I really can't stress that like me and Connor lived in a 1-bedroom apartment that was $1,400 a month, and we didn't have a car. Like it was like we were as the brokest you were gonna get. like so I guess like probably on paper I had a negative net worth. We had loans and but I mean, I would have filed bankruptcy and there was nothing to collect on. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have any assets. And that was. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
No, I was gonna say that's one thing I don't know how I would handle is like absolute scarcity.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be bad. I mean, and that probably makes me risk adverse today. And look, we're going to do a money episode. Mike requested to come back for that episode, so we'll get Mike on here talking about, because he has some stories where he was worried he was going to get close.
I got close with like in my sort of first company days. We got close twice, and that was not because like I think the mistake was I didn't really understand cash flows and like 13-week cash flow and managing receivables and like all the finance and business stuff. Like I was pretty good at selling and I was good at building. But I didn't like know how to actually run a company. And we kind of got up to like doing 10 million bucks a year, 10, 11 million bucks a year, but with like no real great financial controls. And we got really close. Like we had really big clients that paid us a lot of money. And when the economy ever took a turn, it's like people slow down paying you, but you still have like your biggest expense in service is your people. Right. So I still had this massive payroll, and receivables almost took us out twice. Like for sure.
Yeah, dude. And it's one of those things where you can have a healthy business. Like we're not even talking about any debt or anything. It's just like getting paid. Or, we have a friend. They didn't tell me this. I heard this through the grapevine. So I'm not going to blow them up, but, one of those big box chains just went bankrupt and they were the single largest shareholder. So like we're talking about $7 million in receivables you're not going to get, right?
Yeah.
Like you might get 20% of that when you go to a bankruptcy hearing, right? And you actually probably won't even get that because there's going to be so much secured debt on top of you. Like you're just some invoice, like it's unsecured, and it sucks. Like
Yeah.
there's every day there's a new pathogen trying to take out these businesses, right? And it could be receivables, it could be a bad shipment coming in, it could be an error on whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be tariffs. It can be like a lot of things that take you out. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Like when it comes to mistakes, if I look back, I had no knockout punches clearly at this point, but like lots of, I don't know what to call them, like micro mistakes, like little interactions with people that I probably still every now and again think about and I feel awkward and embarrassed.
Wow.
Like my temper was too short, or like I said something really stupid in the moment because I'm Italian and hot-headed sometimes. That kind of stuff for sure. But like, no, I don't think like any big miscalculations that set me back years, like no near death things.
Yeah, dude. I've done a million things I'm embarrassed about with people I still have to see sometimes. So look, that's human life, man. Like you sign up for what you sign up for. But yeah, so it's one of those things, just think about your career. I mean, like, I don't think there's specific things where I'm like, oh, I failed at that. There's a lot of stuff that like it could have went good, but we talk about this all the time. Out of 100 universes, like what outcome are we in? We're in a top 5 universe. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm not trying to get sympathy, but literally when I moved to Los Angeles, I was living in bunk beds. Like that cost $500 because that's what I could afford to live in. You know what I mean? Like
so crazy.
Yeah. And now I don't. And it's awesome. So like, we're a top 5 out of all the possible universes, possible outcomes. And like, yeah, I'm sure there's things that could have went better, but like, we're still in the game. We have a lot of people who've fallen out of the game. And like, there's, money's one of those things where like, when you don't have it, like it probably consumes you completely, right? We're talking about like, oh, things could be slightly better, but people commit suicide over this type of, so
yeah,
just stay in the game, man. Like it's a fun game.
Yeah. It's people's backgrounds. Like I actually wonder too, if the more, like if the worse off you started, I wonder if ultimately you actually are better at like, you become more likable and your soft skill game gets better because you have no choice. Like it's a survival game. Like I need people to like me because I need people to give me money because I have none. Like, I wonder if that's true versus like, I'm just saying like anecdotally, like all of my rich friends were just douchebags. And like, they're just like the least likable people I know. Not that they're not likable, but they're the least likable.
Oh man.
And then like my friends that were broke, like wrong side of the tracks broke, were the most fun.
Yeah. Well, dude, think about this. I'm 5'8". I'm kind of fat. I'm horrible at sports. I've never had any problem dating or in my love life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're likable. That's it.
Yeah.
Because it's what you have.
Yeah. It taught me to be funny very early on. So
dude, we haven't talked about that. The value of a decent sense of humor and like, and then maybe this just comes from not taking yourself seriously. I don't know. I haven't thought too much about just like how to be funny, but I will say like of all of the freaking founders and like, a lot of them, dude, most of them have a pretty good sense of humor. Like most of them have like sarcasm on lock. They're pretty self-deprecating. They're like this. It's a consistent set of personality traits that I've noticed in like my CEO friends.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, no one wants to be around boring people, but yeah, dude. My number one advice is be funny.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the climax of this episode. Dude, you just got to be funny. Like learn to go be funny. That's it. Yeah. No big deal.
Dude, it'll help in every aspect of your life. But look, we did this episode because I think it's something you can actually improve on. I think you can make yourself more likable, right? And do not be scared of looking like an idiot. Like we all have those memories of those like us being incredibly cringe, but like try to remember a time where someone else was cringe. You can only remember the times you were cringe, right?
Totally.
That is human nature. You think about yourself way more than anybody else.
Yeah, nobody actually cares and nobody remembers. That is like the most powerful thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's probably some people listening from my old days. We're like, no, we remember some of the stuff.
I remember what you said very clearly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm also kind of a spaz, dude. I've spazzed out a bunch, so maybe that's on camera somewhere.
Yeah. No, this is great, man. Should we wrap it? Is that the pod?
I think we appreciate all the operators, listeners. We always have cool new things happening. Our newsletter has tens of thousands of subscribers, right? Could you believe that? We can email tens of thousands of people. If you want to be one of them, please subscribe. We have marketing operators, a slightly worse version of this show. We have finance operators. Also, every day we're active on Ecom Fuel. Matt, please sign into Ecom Fuel and post.
I haven't done that yet. You're right.
Okay, there you go.
That's good. Yeah, thanks. You know what? And Andrew just sent me like a little welcome package with a really nice note. So I have to like get on there. I was in Ecom Fuel before. I was just like, I might be the least active member.
No, they have some members that are not very active, but we're trying to breathe life in that community. We've already sent probably 100 people over to it.
Wow.
So we tried to do the Slack thing. I can't get these guys to post in Slack, but I'm getting them to post in Ecom Fuel. So there's other people actively engaging every day. Please come join and hang out with us.
Yeah, it's he does a great job community wise. Like man, my hat's off. Cause like when I have logged in, I really enjoy reading everything. It's awesome. Yeah, you're right. I should get on there and post.
Thank you to all of our fantastic sponsors. Thank you to all of our fantastic listeners. Thank you to Northbeam, Postscript, Richpanel, Saras Analytics, and the most important sponsor of all, Fulfill. 5 softwares I use, 5 softwares I pay for, 5 softwares I was using and paying for before they started sponsoring this podcast. We got cool stuff coming, man. Thank you for being on this journey. E-commerce has been hard, but we have a really cool thing we're going to do for the end of the year. It'll blow your mind what we're going to do. Is that right, Matt?
Absolutely. And if you are listening to this point in the show, please go like and subscribe and do whatever you have to do on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get this poison that we call a podcast. It strokes our egos and it's really important.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Well, dude, I love hanging out. We have a week worth of recording coming out. We're going to do next week. So
I can't wait.
Me and Matt hanging out a lot. Talk to you guys later. Goodbye.
All right.